Good morning, folks. Mike Trim here with WPTV News Channel 5 morning anchor, 4:30 to 7 a.m. If you're not up early, you can catch my reports here. And one of the big ones today, and we've seen such a reaction for it so far, I wanted to jump in and have a conversation with you and get this conversation moving and continuing. This is about the insurance crisis in the state of Florida, specifically homeowners insurance. You've been through it. You've likely either dealt with a non-renewal letter from your homeowner's insurance policy. Maybe you're dealing with double, triple the price of your yearly premium. Right now, it is a big problem here in our state. As a matter of fact, the state legislature now finally coming back to special session at the end of this month to try to hammer out some legislation to fix this problem that who knows if it can be a quick fix here. I want to see your comments. I know a lot of you have commented on my stories so far on the WPTV Facebook page, but the main culprit of this whole thing deals with the thing that's on top of your roof. Yeah, the top of the problem is what's on top of your house, your roof, okay? Rampant roofing fraud, insurance companies telling people that they likely need to replace their roofs to not have a non-renewal letter, all the way to people using fraudulent roofing companies, or let's just say less than stellar roofing companies that get their roofs replaced and file an insurance claim to replace it just like it was damaged after a hurricane when it's not. So it is a snowballing effect here. I want to hear what you're personally dealing with your homeowner's insurance. I talked with the gentleman in Wellington. I put out the call a few months ago to try to get a feel on where people are with this story. And I just want to let you know the level of frustration people have getting dropped from their homeowners insurance companies, close to hurricane season. Here's what the gentleman in Wellington told me when I went and talked with him.
This is just another straw that's thrown on my back. And, there is just so many additional costs right now.
Talking about the roof there. So by and large, and I want to give you by the numbers here, within the past year, more than 120,000 homeowners in our state have been outright dropped from their insurance companies. A large part of that deals with roofs. Talk with an insurance agent, and you need to watch my story at 6 p.m. tonight on WPTV live on air, and also for your early riser 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. Talk with an insurance agent, and the sweet spot right now for your roof, if it's 12 years or older, you need to unfortunately be looking to find the means to replace it, because insurance companies right now have dealt with billions in underwriting losses in the past just year alone because of fraudulent litigation, people filing insurance claims to replace roofs that don't need to be replaced. It is a crisis, and that is why finally the call for the state legislature to come back to special session to deal with this. Something has to be done because let me remind you, this state has not been hit by a major hurricane since 2018. That was Hurricane Michael. Okay, that was in the Panhandle as well. And Stephen, thank you for commenting. Took the wind on my pilot off, and it's still $1,400 a year, right? Extraordinary costs right now, extraordinary premiums. Personally, mine went up more than $1,000. So when they get back to special session in the state legislature, though, here's the thing. We've heard some state legislators say, well, we passed some legislation last year. We have to let it breathe a little bit and see what happens. State Senate Bill 76, which was passed last year. And Mara, citizens going up $208 a month. I mean, just doing the math there, that's more than $2,000 a year. I mean, it's really a crisis. What I was saying is we haven't been hit by a major hurricane since 2018, Hurricane Michael. That was in the Panhandle. Irma, not catastrophic damage. So all of this is happening without a major hurricane and without insurance companies having to pay out an extraordinary amount of money. This is all made because of fraudulent litigation, roofing problems, court costs now being passed on to you. Let me get back to State Senate Bill 76. It was passed last year. This is kind of explaining the problem, and I'm going to talk about solutions with you, and then I'm going to go through some of your comments, and we'll talk about it. State Bill 76 tried to stop the solicitation of fraudulent roofers, a big part of it at least, a big part of this bill, where going door to door, some roofers, contractors, licensed or not, saying, hey, I'll replace that roof for you. Sign over an assignment of benefits letter to me. I will submit that to your insurance company. You won't even have to pay a deductible. You won't have to pay a dime. What happens then is the assignment of benefits letter gives away all the rights to that contractor. They're submitting the claim to the insurance company. That then goes to court because it might be a $30,000 new roof. And they'll put it through to the insurance company as a $100,000 claim. And I'm not exaggerating here. Insurance company looks at it and says, no way, that's way too much. They get their attorneys. Contractor gets their attorneys. They go to court. They then decide on a reasonable arbitration. Here's the problem with that. That's happened thousands and thousands and thousands of times over. I know you commenting right now here in the Palm Beaches and Treasure Coast. After storms, you see people, and I don't mean to knock hardworking, honest contractors. It's the bad ones that give a bad name, right? But you see people that go door to door, and try to take advantage of a situation. So that is what Senate Bill 76 tried to strike down last year. And it passed. It passed the State House, signed into law by the governor. It was hailed as a good victory. Here's the problem. A company went to an appeals court in Tampa and struck down that part of the bill. The solicitation, not being able to put signs in yards after the work, not being able to go knock on doors and ask and try to provide an opportunity to get a new roof or a repair to a roof. And it was cited on free speech. It impinged on free speech. So that part of the bill struck, and they were basically back to scratch this past year. In beginning of 22, there was legislation that was attempted to be passed, was not passed through the Senate. So now they're coming back to special session. That gets to where we are now. So the roofing problem. I mean, let's hear from you. How many people have been dropped from their home? How many people have been dropped from their homeowners insurance policy? I could do, and here we go. Felipe, let me read your comment and thank you for chiming in. I got a non-renewal letter from Progressive 2 days ago. Lives in Port St. Lucie. Roof's in great shape. Guy came last season offering a new roof to be paid for by my insurance. That's what I was talking about. And you denied it because didn't seem like the right thing to do. Now, stuck with no insurance renewal, hurricane season about to start. What can I do? Let me get to that. What can I do in solutions part? Because I know people are like, hey, we know what the problem is. What's the solution? Okay, because we need solutions here with our tracking all these things down. So Felipe Blanco and anybody that is facing that scenario, I'm going to do some standard advice here that an insurance agent told me. You still can call around. You can still look for a reputable company that could take you on. I hate to say it, Citizens is a policy that has to take you as it's state backed. That can happen. If it's not your roof, if you know the age of your roof and it's 12 years or older, but if you know you've never filed a claim as well, and you can afford it, I mean, wind mitigation techniques like, maybe a different kind of shutter, windows. I know supply chain issues are tough right now. Install those to try to get that premium down, try to make your house a little more attractive at this point. But talking with a company about an insurance agent, that's probably the best way to go. And just really look at your options right now. And if it is Citizens, then look at the mitigation techniques you can take to move forward. I wish I had the solid answers for you now, but it's at a level much higher than us. That's the advice we can give you now that we found through experts, because that's why this is a crisis right now. And I've been just burning to do this story. And I'm glad some folks talked to me through this story. Let me play that soundbite once again. If you're just joining us, from a gentleman in Wellington dealing with this, got a non-renewal letter close to hurricane season. Here we go. And now never filed a claim, roof in good shape. Here's what he had to say.
This is just another straw that's thrown on my back. And, there is just so many additional costs right now.
Another part of this crisis, just to explain the problem rather than pointed solutions, but the problem why we're here as well, is these insurance companies, a lot of them are folding. I mean, we're talking about since the beginning of the year, more than 5 have folded. There is a organization that gives ratings for insurance companies that is every day looking at new information to see if, because of this fraudulent litigation and roofing fraud, can they stay solvent? Can they pay their debts? Are they paying too much in court costs and not going to be able to pay? Beth, you're right. 5 insurance companies have closed because they're insolvent. Lighthouse was one of them a couple of weeks ago, along with St. John's Insurance. We're talking about like the 5th and 4th, like big insurance companies in Florida that are folding, that are outright folding. I did talk with a state senator here in West Palm Beach, Senator Bobby Powell, on the Democratic side of it. I've attempted to reach out to both sides of the aisle. He's the first that agreed to go on camera as they're heading back to Tallahassee. And, he said, we need to get these insurance companies you have those congressional hearings where you sit people and ask them questions and everything's on the record. Like, is this really the reason why your profits are down and you're losing money? He says that needs to be part of this legislative process as well. Let me get to some of your comments. I don't want to ignore any of them. And I also don't want to make this too much about the governor as well. I'm talking about the specific story. I know a lot of people are jumping in with that right off the bat. Right. Cindy, I mean, you're right. Have done the research. Stories up online that also I did earlier this year, back in February. It is the fraudulent insurance claims filed by dishonest people, as I explained in this Facebook Live. That's to Cindy Roberts White. Unfortunately, a lot of that has led to this. Nita Ipsale, don't expect your old roof that needs to be replaced to be covered by, roofs by design with insurance companies are supposed to be replaced or repaired after a storm, after major damage. And there's been too many people taking advantage of the system. So what can be done to stop that? Just looking at your comments here, and Citizens going up. By the way, Citizens, with an influx of more than 1 million users now, 1 million clients, raised its rates to 11%, the highest rate allowable by state standards at its last meeting. Annie Gonzalez, I'm feeling your pain as well. Citizens went up $2,100. I mean, listen, sometimes it's tight enough as it is. You don't count on that. If you've got a mortgage going and it's like, oh, there's another $2,100 a year. I mean, it's outright ridiculous, right? Nita, I'm glad you brought up that point. Nita brought it up at about 10:30, about almost 10 minutes ago. But I'm going to listen to this. Listen to this statistic. Listen to this. Only 8.15 of all U.S. homeowner claims were opened in Florida. Now, this is 2019, before the pandemic. 8.15 of all U.S. homeowner insurance claims opened in our state, out of the whole country, 8.15%. Yet Florida accounted for more than 76% of property claim lawsuits in the country. So 8% of all homeowners insurance claims, but 76% of all property claim lawsuits. And I explained that lawsuit process. If you're just joining in, talking about fraudulent roofing companies, fraudulent contractors, trying to get an assignment of benefits letter signed over from a homeowner, and then sending that to an insurance company at a highly inflated cost. That they go to court, the attorneys, all the court costs, it adds up. Migdalia says, I received a letter from my insurance. They are not renewing. They're not renewing it. Had to go crazy looking for another. I feel you on that. That's why our Priced Out of Paradise series is covering this. And we are trying to hold those accountable, asking state lawmakers. We're also looking for possible solutions for you at this point. Again, there's a special legislative session at the end of this month, but I did, and you need to check out my story at 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. tomorrow, that there are some possible solutions in the meantime. I know they're not the most attractive options, but when you're dealing with a non-renewal letter, what can you do? Let's keep going through the comments, and thank you. I know this is a very hot topic right now. Why are auto insurance companies not folding? There are a lot more car accidents. Yeah, that is a very good question, Jeff. And if I had the time to track down that, I would. Knee deep in the homeowners insurance now. I know some people are dealing with some auto insurance raises as well. As seemingly everything is going up in America and in South Florida. Okay. Yep. Anne says she had a 30-year architectural roof that's only 16 years old. We've been told we don't need a new roof. How can this insurance company dump us? It's not right. Unfortunately, insurance companies can do what they want in this circumstance. They could decide if, they want to have a client and base that on whatever. I know where I live in Northern Palm Beach County, there's 2 insurance companies, one of them Citizens, that caters to my zip code. I was told that. I'm like, only 2, so shopping around really isn't much of an option. Jeff, as you mentioned earlier before that question, as a Florida public adjuster, it's the insurance company's own fault by not paying claims. They deny legitimate claims, we have a debacle now. We have a crisis now, and we are staying on top of this with our Priced Out of Paradise series. Please go to that section of our website. Please tune in tonight. I'm passionate about this aspect of the story. Denying legitimate claims. We're not, at this point, we're approaching hurricane season, and hopefully we will be blessed in the Palm Beaches and Treasure Coast so we don't get hit by a major hurricane. But this debacle is all happening while there have been no major hurricanes in how many years that have caused catastrophic damage where people need to rebuild their roofs, homes. It's been a while. They pay for. Diana Miller said, yeah, of course, great time before hurricane season. Got a roof they had to pay for just because it didn't cover a gravel roof and just got dropped as well. Shingle roofs, I'm telling you, I talked with an insurance adjuster that deals with 40 companies. He tells me if your roof is 12 years or older, you need to start talking to an insurance agent to kind of feel out what your options are. Also with that, the recommendation not to and let's say you're getting a new roof, or let's say you plan to get a new roof, or you have an ongoing project for wind mitigation. You need to wait until that's done, then take pictures, then submit that to your insurance. Letting your insurance company know there's an open project in your house before hurricane season where that could get blown around during a hurricane is something that I've been advised by the insurance agent that I interviewed for this story at 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. tomorrow not to do. Don't let them know that, hey, I'm planning to do this, or I've got an open, contract for this. Wait until that stuff is done, then submit it to your insurance company. By the way, you need to open up. Don't wait for that letter in the mail. Open up the communication with your insurance companies. And I'm not saying anybody's at fault here, because sometimes, insurance, especially for a mortgage, is kind of set it and forget it. So you don't want to constantly call them, but it's time to call your insurance company, especially if you have an agent. The best way to deal with it, and just see, hey, is my stuff going up this year? What do you foresee it as? This is the age of my roof. What am I looking at? What are my options? For instance, had a friend that their total replacement cost for their house went up about $70,000 in the policy. And if you're not well versed in homeowners insurance, you might not have seen it. And that's what caused a big jump in the yearly insurance premium. And the only, there wasn't any really reason given other than, maybe the age of the roof, something like that. But you can call your insurance company and say, hey, my total replacement cost for my home, if it gets blown away, is this. Can I lower it to this, knowing what you can repair your home with, and see how much that makes in a difference for my premium? Okay. Talk about other options with your premium. Like you got to ask the questions now, because even if you're not getting a non-renewal letter, I guarantee you there's not many people in the state of Florida saying, wow, I just got a letter and they said, congratulations, your costs are lowered. So make that communication with your insurance agent stat, because you know what's coming. I don't want to say the dreaded H word, but the season's coming, and not trying to alarm about anything we don't already know, right? Hey, I want to thank you for joining me on this. I want to keep going through your comments because I appreciate it. And like I said, our Priced Out of Paradise series and this station, this company is dedicated to covering this problem consistently, but not only covering it, trying to find solutions. We're having a town hall Saturday. Going to get you more information on that on our website as well. Can I get Tom Hamilton's 10:40 a.m. comment up here? Because Tom, you said, had my roof inspected and was told it's in great shape. It was put on in 2006, so making it 14 years old. Okay. I'm getting it replaced anyway before I get a letter. Hey, my insurance actually went down 100 from last year. So Tom taking that proactive action, which, I mean, if everybody on this thread makes that phone call, at the least, you are armed with some knowledge going into it, instead of getting that letter and saying, what is going on here, right? Lauren Fleming, and this kind of just spells it out right here. 2 comments down at 10:40. We have been dropped past 3 years by carrier. Only owned my house for 4 years, 3 carriers, 4 years. That's the state of homeowners insurance in the state of Florida right now. Okay. Reading through your comments. If you're just joining us on this WPTV Facebook Live, very much appreciated. Beth White says, hey, West Palm Beach, Lake Worth area Citizens, the only game in town. I mean, there are some areas that companies aren't writing policies for anymore. I mean, getting dropped, dropping whoever's in that zip code and just not writing policies for anymore. And you're going to see more of that, unfortunately. Jeff, would love to have a conversation with you, licensed Florida Public Insurance Adjuster, with you as well. Let's touch base. Private message me on my Mike Trim WPTV Facebook page. And hey, you tell me if there's more to add, we're getting anything wrong, or, something we're not seeing here. Make sure you read the story that I reported back in February and today, coming up at 6 p.m. And we are always going to add to that. Let's see here. Where the insurance company? Well, yep. Citizens, the problem is they are receiving a huge influx in clients. Obviously, think about it. State-backed, only option in some areas. Your fallback option, if you're getting dropped from your insurance company with a non-renewal letter, you got to go to Citizens. Well, they have raised their rates to the highest possible rate hike the state will allow, to 11%, by 11%. And they did that at their last meeting. Nita at 1049. I know all companies have different rules. Most are 20-year roof age, but I'd really be weary of that right now, as so many companies are folding and so many are taking on more clients. It seems as if the roof is the major issue here when the non-renewal letters are coming. Jenny Better Plum, insurance company just dumped us after 16 years with no claims. Found out that it went belly up, went insolvent. Um, I mean, you hope that you make payments on time. You don't file a claim that it'll be it'll pay off in the long run. So this is tough, right? Um, Sherry Kearns, 1050 comment, and would be interested to know which company um, says that, after 10 years, no matter what shape your roof is in. I mean, then you're looking at even less than 12 years, which is the advice that we get. Hey, Beverly Power Snyder, of course, thank you for chiming in. We are going to stay on this. Okay, just reading through the comments, folks. Again, you can go to WPTV.com, check out my story on homeowners insurance clients getting dropped. And let me make sure that my number there is right that I gave you guys earlier, because and I'm going to look at my own reporting here. Sometimes I just need to refer to a lot of notes. I want to tell you how many homeowners have been dropped in the past year. Carol Doles, pardon me, says, I'm seeing door-to-door salesmen selling solar roof panels. I heard that insurance companies frown upon panels on roofs and may cancel or not approve. Yeah, and that's going to be another facet of this, like solar panels. That is a large lane to report in. I can hopefully get to that soon. I'm going to stick with just this hot topic for the moment, but that's a very good question, Carol. Okay, so a number I gave you earlier was less than what it actually is, and I'm looking at my own report. So, and I'll read exactly what it comes from tonight's report. It's going to air on WPTV and tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. You can see I'm trying to get that morning show plug in, right? So, over the past year, more than 150,000 Florida homeowners have received non-renewal letters. When asking their insurance agents, a lot of them are dealing with roofs. Okay, so here we go. Jeff, I want to bring up your 1054 comment because, I agree with it. I mean, not that my opinion matters, but I agree with what you're saying makes sense. I only get involved with legitimate claims, the insurance adjuster. When the insurance claim is $25K and the insurance company offers $4K, what options do the insured have other than filing a lawsuit? You're right. I mean, and that is why most people, all roads lead back to something has to be done by the state. Is there frustration over some legislation being passed before an insurance legislation being passed this year? We've heard people say that on air. We'll continue to cover both sides of that argument. It's going to be very interesting to see what comes out of this special legislative session, because now the governor has set the mandate that he wants more options available for insurance companies, also wants more accountability to the insurance companies. So we'll just really see what comes out of that. Danny Vincent, let me bring up that 1056 comment, and thank you for keeping them coming, folks. This is such an important topic right now. Inspection underwriter, we do not accept shingle roofs over 15 years old. Good to know. We also have carriers that pulled out of the Tri-County area, Dade, Broward, Palm Beach. Yep, said it there. We do excess and surplus. That's why you have to go with Citizens. That's why you have to go to if Citizens won't take to you. Okay, excess and surplus. Good to know. Yep. Okay. Lou Vinci. Want to bring up yours at 1058. Okay. And I've heard metal roofs are the jam. I mean, that's the good. They last much longer. Hope that won't be an issue. He has one. I do have a portion of the roof flat over a patio that was tar, and they canceled me due to that alone. Just and thank you for sharing that. All of this knowledge, please pass it on to each other. Get ahead of this game as much as you can. Thank you, Lou. Let's keep this conversation going throughout the day, folks. Again, Mike Trim from the WPTV Morning Show, 4:30 to 7 a.m. Have a story airing tonight on 6 p.m. on WPTV on air. You can check that out. It's video in its entirety on the website right now. It's also linked up in the Facebook page. I could stay and talk for another hour about this, but I'm going to let you guide this conversation. Let me know. Go to my Facebook page at Mike Trim WPTV. If you have more stories like this, I will continue to cover this. Our station will continue to cover this. Head to our Priced Out of Paradise section on our website, WPTV.com, as we are keeping track of everything from rental prices, home prices, insurance debacle, and more. Thank you for joining us. We'll talk soon.